Days of every month, sit back, relax, and vibe out as we showcase Guam's local talent through their video submissions. Tune in for Local Music Mashup on KUAM TV8 at 6:30 p.m. and TV11 at 7:30 p.m. Or catch it on KUAM digital platforms. You're not going to want to miss this. Local Music Mashup is brought to you by Burger King. Be your way.
For all of those who love this spooky time of year, KUAM brings you an adventure to clear. Choose your path through a virtual trick-or-treat. Hope you get through it without too much heat. Go to KUAM News IG for this fun and collect your prize when all is done. Take on this adventure on October 26th and let this be your Halloween fix. It's fun for all in the family too. Happy Halloween wishes to them and to you. The Christmas Pops virtual holiday shopping fair is coming on Sunday, November 29th. It's the 3rd annual Christmas Pops event with local artisans, crafters, and businesses in a reimagined and safe way for you to shop. As many small businesses struggle to survive, the call to buy local is greater than ever. To learn more and participate in this one-of-a-kind multimedia marketplace event on the stations and digital platforms of KUAM Communications, bringing together the island's biggest array of local vendors, email bettyann@kuam.com or visit kuam.com. Presented to you by Stroll Courier. Get all your packages, documents, and gifts delivered island-wide. Visit strollguam.com/courier and book a delivery today.
KUAM News Headlines is presented by CALVO'S Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson and the Adahi Tano Program. Cars Plus, home of Guam's first and only lifetime limited powertrain warranty. McDonald's of Guam, I'm loving it. And King's Restaurants, always open, always local, and serving up favorites for over 40 years.
Ahead on prime time, the total of COVID-related fatalities for the island is now at 69. Plus, during a roundtable discussion on Tuesday, a recommendation for a COVID clinic is made to treat positive high-risk patients with comorbidities. And what government of Guam agencies are doing when their employees test positive for COVID.
Hafa and good evening. I'm Adriana Cotero. The Joint Information Center confirmed this afternoon 2 COVID-19 related fatalities. Guam's 68th COVID-19 related fatality occurred at the U.S. Naval Hospital at approximately 6:03 p.m. Tuesday evening. The patient was a 61-year-old male with underlying health conditions complicated by COVID-19. He was admitted to U.S. Naval Hospital on October 5th and tested positive upon admission. The 69th COVID-19 related fatality occurred at the Guam Regional Medical City at approximately 5:15 a.m. this morning. The patient was a 60-year-old female with underlying health conditions that were complicated by COVID-19. She was admitted to GRMC and also tested positive upon admission. Now the latest COVID results from the Joint Information Center. The numbers continue to surge as 130 tested positive out of 957 samples from various labs and clinics. Of the new cases, 5 were identified in quarantine. There are currently 1,466 active cases, while more than 2,300 people have recovered. Overall, Guam's current COVID case count is 3,886 people who have been infected with the coronavirus since March, and 67 COVID-related deaths. The COVID census at the Guam Memorial Hospital currently shows 62 COVID patients hospitalized. According to Hospital Administrator Lillian Posadas, 9 patients are receiving an ICU level of care, with 4 of the patients currently on ventilator support. 6 of the 62 COVID patients are currently hospitalized at the CIF in Barrigada Heights. Since yesterday, there have been 5 new admissions at the hospital. Posadas says the patients were experiencing symptoms and needed the use of supplemental oxygen. Posadas also confirms the arrival of 2 nurses this past Sunday, with another 10 nurses coming in tomorrow. Positive cases are skyrocketing, and it is absolutely paramount that we do our part to stay home, mask up, social distance, and wash our hands. Guam needs to stand up a COVID clinic specifically to treat positive high-risk patients with comorbidities. The recommendation came during a roundtable discussion last night at the legislature on pre-hospital isolation and care. Here's more.
Dr. Hoa Wen says it's not good enough anymore for positive patients to be told simply to go home and monitor their symptoms, especially those with underlying conditions that are all too common here, such as hypertension or diabetes. Wen says those cases need to be seen by a doctor every day.
but they need to get to a clinic to do a daily monitoring and some teaching for this patient to be able to be face-to-face, one-on-one with a physician or NP or somebody that can tell them, educate them what to look for.
Because many don't know what to look for, and in many cases, it's only at a medical clinic that patients can get a blood test, for example, or a chest x-ray.
Sometimes people sound fine. There's no way you can listen to a COVID-19 patient lung. They all sound good. But when you take the x-ray, you say, oh my goodness, it's totally look really bad and beyond what you can hear with your ear.
He says it's a much cheaper solution in the long run than sending a patient to the hospital when the intervention comes too late. Wen further suggests that the clinic should be stood up near high-risk sites.
We can run that clinic 4 or 5 hours a day. They just walk over and get seen. There's no cost to them. And that's the way that we capture those population, because we can remember those people go to work in our community also.
Public health representatives said they've had mobile clinics in the past, though not for COVID, but there were issues with those programs that need further discussion. Dr. Wen says a COVID clinic will not only save money, but more importantly, it will save lives. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
Data is important, but it's important to get the data right. Speaking on the link this morning, Dr. Annette David details what COVID data is telling us.
It's always important to look at it as a rate rather than as an absolute number. I am worried.
COVID data analyst Dr. Annette David says she's worried after yesterday's results presenting 130 positive cases out of 957 tests, which is a 13.9% positivity rate.
That rate, that's very worrisome, because that means that more than 1 out of 10 samples that's getting tested is positive, and that's an indicator of the magnitude of how widespread the virus is in the community.
It's important to note these numbers are the result of those tested. As Dr. David explains, a majority of the island has not been tested.
So this is just a marker, but we don't really know how widespread the virus is in the community. And to be able to figure that out, we would have to expand testing considerably.
That all depends on our testing capacity and availability. But bottom line, Dr. David says this virus is highly infectious, and numbers are telling us to do more to stop the transmission.
The virus is programmed to do one thing. It's programmed to look for a host, because a virus can't live outside of a host. And so this little thing that we're up against, it is constantly searching to find the next host so it can propagate itself. So it's the host's behavior that determines if the virus continues to propagate.
In order to stop the spread, we must practice necessary preventative measures: staying home, social distancing, wearing a mask, and hand hygiene. And in order for Guam to move forward, Dr. David says we must first accept COVID-19.
But I think we need to accept the fact that this virus is going to be here, and that maybe life will never go back to the way it was before the virus came. Right. And I think once we're over that psychological hurdle, we can start thinking about how we move forward.
The Judiciary of Guam confirms 1 employee has tested positive for COVID-19. According to spokesperson Tina Blas, the Judiciary received notification on October 19th, and the employee last reported to work on October 16th. KUAM initially reached out for an interview regarding the positive case. However, the request has been declined. While we wait for additional information regarding contact tracing and mitigation efforts, Blas says over the weekend, all of the judiciary facilities were heavily cleaned and sanitized. She adds, quote, "Our facility staff will continue throughout the week to undertake deep sanitization measures in all of our areas of operation," unquote. Blas did not provide specific details on which area within the courts were infected. Although she says given the high numbers occurring throughout the island, the judiciary has elected to take a proactive approach to stay all in-person therapeutic treatment meetings and sessions for 14 days, and will re-examine the situation at the conclusion of this period. The judiciary will continue to provide and conduct telehealth treatment services. A proposal is in the works to provide some much-needed relief to the struggling restaurant industry. The Hotel and Restaurant Association has been working on a plan confirmed by Governor Lou Leon Guerrero during her press conference last week to distribute money for people to use at local dining facilities. GHRA President Mary Rhodes says she's been working with GIDA on the program and will present details to the governor during a meeting next week. They're hoping to roll out one similar to Hawaii's restaurant card program that was launched last weekend. The state began sending out $500 debit cards to employees who were displaced by the pandemic. The $75 million program is being funded through Federal CARES Act money. For details on the Hawaii program, tune in to In Full Zoom later in the show. Also, Mary Rhodes is one of the scheduled guests on tomorrow's The Link show. GPA's customer service centers closed at Hulali and Fadian after a cashier tested positive for COVID. GPA's communications manager, Art Perez, says GPA management was advised last night of the case, which prompted the closure of all customer-facing portals.
She remained at home, reported to her supervisors, advised GPA management, our protocols in place.
According to Perez, 4 employees were identified as close contacts and remain on home isolation. The positive employee says he was assigned to the customer-facing section at the Hulali Center. The Fadian Center, he adds, was closed as a precaution. Both locations are being disinfected and sanitized. Customers can utilize the drive-through service in the Upper Tumon area. However, the community is encouraged to use GPA's non-contact portals by making payments online, downloading their mobile app, or calling their center at 647-5787. The administrative offices at the Guam International Airport Authority are preparing to reopen tomorrow after completing disinfection and sanitization over the past 2 days. But according to GIAA Executive Manager John Kenyatta, more than 12 employees have been quarantined.
We're looking at about 17 individuals that we have identified to have close contact.
Kenyatta clarifies that not all of them were close contact, but due to the timeliness of interaction and as an extra precaution, they were identified as close contacts. The executive manager himself was identified as a contact and is quarantining and teleworking from home. It was on Monday GIAA announced 2 employees had tested positive for COVID. From the airport to the Port Authority, where the Guam Customs office located there has since reopened. Last Friday, it was closed after a customs clerk tested positive. Customs Director Ike Paredo says contact tracing was conducted to determine who may have had close contact.
I think it was 12 officers and the clerks were exposed. And what we did was we isolated all 12 officers and the clerks and scheduled a contact tracing with public health.
Paredo says all 12 tested negative. Additionally, the office was deep sanitized. Prior to this recent case, it was in early September when 5 customs employees assigned to the same office had tested positive for the virus. And a developing story late this afternoon, there was a single auto crash on Route 16 near the underpass. Units from the Guam Fire Department and officers from the Guam Police Department responded to the accident. No word yet on the extent of injuries. We'll be sure to get the information to you once it becomes available. And stick around for more news here on Primetime. You're watching KUAM.
While we've all been through a lot over the years, typhoons, earthquakes, and now COVID-19, we've been able to get through these together.
For more than 80 years, CALVO'S Insurance has been protecting your homes, your businesses,
and the health of your family.
We are here today and we'll be here tomorrow.
There are better days ahead. Tomorrow's a new day filled with hope and choices.
The possibilities of what we can achieve together are limitless.
Let's continue to work together to ensure a brighter tomorrow for all of us.
Hafaday, I'm Amanda Shelton. Thank you for the honor to serve as your senator. I humbly ask for one of your votes this election to continue providing for our families, protecting our manamku, preparing our youth, preserving our environment, and promoting health and safety for our entire community. Please vote Amanda Shelton, number 6, Democrat. Thank you.
Hafaday, ang Elaine Tamanyao Johnson and I'm voting for Joe S. Sonagasti. Woo-hoo!
Hafaday, guahu si Joe Mesngun. Kugagagaham Toru para un fanbota si Joe S. Sonagasti para senador.
Hafaday, I'm Crystal Augustine. I'm from Malesu and I'm voting for Joe.
Ako si Winston Ilisito. Iboto natin si Joe San Agustin for Senator. Mabuhay!
I'm Senator Joe Shimizu San Augustine, and I approve this message.
For all those going out each day, doing what they can to hold us all together, we're here to help those helping us all by keeping our lights on.
I'm ready for Robert in this election. He is a proven leader. He's passionate about his home and the people of Guam. He can pick up where I left off and not miss opportunities to benefit our people. Beyond being a good friend of Robert and having tremendous respect for his work, I know that he will do much more to represent our people in Congress. Robert will be accessible to our people. We desperately need someone in Congress that will work in a bipartisan manner. We live in a very challenging time. He will be an ethical leader. And for these reasons, I will vote for Robert Underwood for Congress and will do whatever it takes to support him. Yes, I'm ready for Robert. Si Diyos Masi.
I'm Robert Underwood, and I approve this message.
KUAM News, winner of the 2020 Regional Edward R. Murrow Award for Excellence in Social Media.
Welcome back. Defense Counsel Jay Arreola asked the court this morning, is it impossible? That is the question, and a Supreme Court order prior said it's possible. Arreola referring to his client Mark Torrey Jr.'s trial that paused in August. Chief Prosecutor Basil O'Malley filed a motion for continuance to further delay the trial. O'Malley makes arguments based on the spike in COVID-19 cases, the island remaining in PCOR 1, and 9 jurors expressing concerns with moving forward. However, Attorney Arreola's position is to not grant the continuance. He cites federal law stating that trial can only be continued if holding it is impossible, and argues the trial already started during the pandemic following necessary protocols. In the government's second try of the case, Torrey faces negligent homicide and aggravated assault charges for the 2015 deadly shooting of fellow police officer Albert Piolo. The court plans to issue an order by the end of the week. The Guam Council on the Arts and Humanities has announced that CARES Act funding will be available to nonprofits and individuals who provide public arts and cultural programs on island. CAHA will be accepting grant applications until December 31st or until funding runs out. Individuals will be able to apply for $5,000 in relief funds, and nonprofit organizations will be able to apply for as much as $10,000 in relief funds. Applications will be accepted online at Guam Councils on the Arts and Humanities. And with regional headlines, here's KSPN 2 News.
Hafaday Guam, here are the headlines for CNMI. The bids for the Marianas Resort were extended to Friday, October 16th due to the use of the property as a COVID-19 quarantine site. This includes the hotel, golf course and pool, and the racetrack.
The first bid that ended in July, we had 3 bidders whom have paid the fees, and we haven't opened any of the bids yet because the RFP was extended. But this week we received notification from one of the bidders that they'd like to pull out. And so, they can pull out, and we will end up giving them a reimbursement on their administrative processing fee.
Tergezo says 4 last-minute bids were submitted Friday evening, totaling to 6 submissions. The RFP requirements for the Marpi properties have been up for over a year. Only the dates have been changed. And today, the bids will be opened and reviewed for compliance by DPL.
We will open the bids and we'll determine if they are all responsive, meaning if they've complied with every item on the RFP. And if they have, they will be forwarded to the evaluation committee. The evaluation committee usually is set up with members of the DPL key team.
Tergezo will be asking the expertise of different agencies in selecting the qualified bidder for the Marpi properties.
Having a board member from MVA, because they're very familiar with tourism, and they might be a little bit more keen to something in the proposal that would be more helpful to the community. But majority comprised of DPL team, so that would be the real estate division and our accounting division, and we will have to vet through it and make sure that in the end of the day, the proposal that is selected would be the best and highest use for people of NMDs. We have to maximize our public lands. So.
The Marpy properties also require approval from the legislature on which is the best developer to take over. But Tergezo says that won't take place until early next year.
Because it's an election year, we don't anticipate going up to the legislature at least until probably February, once the new legislature is organized. So that gives us time to review, and it also extends the time of the facility being utilized as a COVID site.
The Marpy facility has been maintained by DPL, keeping it in pristine condition for when the new leaseholder takes over. For more news, visit SaipanTV.com. For KSPN2 News, I'm Ashley McDowell.
Turning to national headlines, with time running out in the 2020 race for the White House, President Trump held a campaign rally in Northwest Pennsylvania. The state and its 20 electoral votes could decide this year's winner. Deborah Alferon reports from Capitol Hill.
With 2 weeks left until Election Day, President Trump returned to Pennsylvania for a campaign rally at the Erie International Airport.
Hello, Erie. Remember that great victory we had always.
President Trump won a narrow victory in the Keystone State in 2016, but recent polls show him trailing Democratic nominee Joe Biden.
It's a choice between our plan to kill the virus or Biden's plan to kill the American dream, and that's what he'd be doing.
The former vice president has spent much of this week in his home state of Delaware, preparing for the final debate on Thursday night. Earlier Tuesday, President Trump cut short a scheduled interview with 60 Minutes correspondent Leslie Stahl. The president later tweeted he's considering posting video of it shot by the White House before the interview airs Sunday. 60 Minutes says the White House agreed only to record the interview for its archives, and that the broadcast has a history of interviewing presidential candidates and asking important questions in the run-up to elections.
Here on Capitol Hill, talks continue on a $2 trillion coronavirus relief bill. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi had set Tuesday as a deadline to get it done before Election Day.
If the White House and Democrats strike a deal, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the Senate will vote on it.
If a presidentially supported bill clears the House, at some point we'll bring it to the floor, yes.
But according to a CBS News source, McConnell told Senate Republicans that he advised the White House not to agree to a large coronavirus stimulus bill ahead of the election. On Wednesday, the Senate is expected to vote on a smaller relief package worth less than $1 trillion, which President Trump has said is not enough. Deborah Alferon, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And make sure to catch the NBC News presidential debate number 2 live on KUAM TV 8 at 11 a.m. with encore at 8 p.m. Don't miss the final presidential debate between President Trump and Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden. And we want to remind you all about Think Pink Day tomorrow, October 22nd, commemorating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Think Pink Day began 7 years ago to commemorate the birthday of our office manager and breast cancer survivor, Christy San Augustine. Our team will wear pink and give tributes to both survivors and those we have lost. We invite you and the entire community to join us by wearing pink and posting up your special tributes using hashtag ThinkPinkGuam across all social media platforms. We created a special sign template that you can download and customize on KUAM.com. And coming up, we continue with our Think Pink series, Awareness is Power. You're watching KUAM.
Your community calendar is brought to you by Taco Bell. Whether it's your first meal or your fourth meal, we've got you covered. Taco Bell, live Más.
Action Pack asks you, are you better off today than you were 2 years ago? It's time to create positive change. Take action, Guam, and stand with the pack in this 2020 election. Join us as we support candidates who help businesses restore the more than 30,000 jobs already lost. Guam needs leaders who support all the people of Guam. Let your voice be heard and vote with the pack. You may be one vote, but together we have the power to make a difference. Visit actionpackguam.com to learn more.
It makes myself and it makes my team members very proud to work for an organization that has been on island for many years with its focus on reliability, dependability, and commitment to the communities that they operate in.
Matson's a great corporate citizen to the community.
We all benefit from any sort of environmental commitment we make. One of the ways that we do that is with our Adahi Utano program. There's action behind it, and so action breeds commitment.
With the Kaimana Hila coming to Guam, this brings a new age and modernization to the island.
It's exciting for me because it's a brand new ship and we can carry more freight into the islands. It just shows growth for Guam and Micronesia.
Matson would be nothing without its customers, and we hope to continue to serve you for decades to come.
Hafide Guam, this is Telo Tairiwi. Fighting for you has been my honor, regardless of the politics and the challenges we faced. I've worked hard every day to improve GMH facilities, fund security cameras for public safety, support road repairs, and call out legislation and decisions that break the people's trust in government. The fight for these priorities isn't over. It's just begun. I'm Telo Tairiwi. I approve this message and humbly ask for your vote. Situs Masi, Maraming Salamat po. Thank you, Guam.
Hafide, I am George Bamba, a Republican and former senator in the Guam legislature and chief of staff to two Republican governors, Paul Calvo and Felix Camacho. Even though Robert Underwood and I haven't always been on the same side of the political fence, I respect him and have worked with him resolving issues important to our people and our island while Robert was in Congress and as president of the University of Guam. I have always had a deep respect for Robert personally and professionally, and continue to do so. At this critical time in our island's history, we need Robert's wisdom and experience to fight for all of us in Washington, D.C. He is a trustworthy and more than capable candidate for Congress, and that is why I am ready for Robert Underwood.
I'm Robert Underwood, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. All week long, we have our Think Pink series, Awareness is Power. October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and tonight, Joan Agan-Charfres introduces us to another cancer warrior, Marissa Quintanilla-Mears.
Think Pink, Awareness is Power is brought to you by Island Cancer Center.
Marissa Quintanilla-Mears is an amazing wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. The 70-year-old Jigo resident is also a breast cancer survivor. It was back in 1982. She was 32 at the time, and she was just about to go to sleep, and as she pulled her blanket up, she felt a lump on her left breast. The next day, she called her doctor.
I went in, I got my biopsy, and I was told when I got out of recovery that it was malignant. So, you know, I don't know how I reacted. I felt bad, but, you know, I still smiled. My family was there. And then the following day, I got my radical mastectomy, where my whole right breast was removed.
Every year after her surgery, she admits around New Year's, it was an emotional time for her.
I would always feel depressed and asking the Lord to, you know, that I survived that year. So this is every year. That's how I felt. I was always afraid that, you know, I won't be around for my children and that I won't see them when they graduate. And
cancer-free for 30 years, Mears no longer has those moments, noting she's lived a beautiful life. So what does the theme, Awareness is Power, mean to her?
You have the power to do when you know, when you're, if you go and get your mammogram and they tell you, you know, that news, then you have all these options that you can do. And from what I've been hearing, that, you know, breast cancer really is not that bad if you detect it early.
Grateful for every day, she ends with some words of encouragement.
If you are going through this, and a lot of it is positive thinking, you know, and I believe in prayers. I prayed a lot. I really did.
Think Pink, Awareness is Power is brought to you by Island Cancer Center.
Don't go anywhere. Coming up, your Cold Stone Creamery birthday shout-outs.
Looking really good.
You could upgrade to the sparkly sprinkle pack on Cupcake Conquest. Or you could upgrade to all this. 2 crunchy tacos and a medium drink. Plus, the beefy cheesy layers of the Grande Stacker Box. Only at Taco Bell.
100% truck, 100% Jeep brand. The all-new Jeep Gladiator is the most capable off-road mid-size pickup truck crafted for adventure. Equipped with best-in-class towing capacity, legendary Jeep brand 4x4 capability, and backed by Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive home in the brand new Jeep Gladiator today, starting as low as $283 per paycheck during Jeep Adventure Days. Call us at 477-7807 or visit our website at carsplusguam.com to get pre-approved today.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
Happy birthday on this October 21st to Ana Simbahan Perez. Always remember, you are loved and appreciated in all that you do, Anna. That's a beautiful, beautiful shout-out. Good job. Jonathan celebrates birthday number 14, and to our grandson, may you have an awesome day and be blessed with many more celebrations. Wishing you all the best, young man. Sending lots of love and warmest hugs from Grandma Ree and all your families in Guam, Texas, and in California. That's a lot of people, and that's a lot of love. Have a great day. Isabella Sage Borja Sinicola celebrates birthday number 17, and to my princess baby, God bless you always with many more amazing years to come. We love you so much. Say mommy and Tristan. Also celebrating a 17th birthday is Bria Blas. Happy birthday, we love you and stay blessed from the Fab Four and Nina. All right. Enrico Nedlick, aka Rico. Happy birthday to you. Have a great day today and every day. God bless you always and stay safe. We love you very much. Say your mama Gina, Sayana, Art, and Matala and Nisha, Nando and Amaya, and your cousin Guerrero, Deso, Kibi, Livali, and the Nedlick familia. Jacob Anthony Sablan, one of our brothers here at KUAM. Hope your birthday is as wonderful as you are today. 36 years of being awesome. 36 only? No. 36 years of being awesome, Jake. Happy birthday to Daddy. Say Zane, Zariah, and Val. And Jake, it's great to have you as a member of our team and our family. We're very, very lucky to know you. George Jr. Flores has a birthday today, and have a great day. And go buy fan Uncle Teti a 10-pack. Huh? That literally is the shout out. Awesome. And happy belated birthday wishes going out to Channing Jose Barnett, another KUM kid who was born on October 20th. Happy double-digit birthday to Channing, turning 10. Wow, 10 years. Hope you finally got one hair on your fa-fa, and I bet you can tell who wrote this. Coming from the family with Bula La 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 Love, happy birthday to the little guy that we all call Malfunction Jr. That gives you an indication of who wrote this. All right, Channing, we hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, and ask Dad for something really, really expensive.
Remember, you can be part of the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club by registering online on KUAM.com. Please make sure to include with your photo your name and birth date. That's going to do it for us here on Prime Time. Thanks for watching. Have a good night and be safe.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Happy day, everyone, and welcome to another edition of In Full Zoom. I'm Nestor Lecanto, and I'm pleased to welcome our guest this week, Gwen Yamamoto Lau, who is the program administrator of the Hawaii Restaurant Card, and we'll, of course, tell you a little bit more about that throughout this show, and also Sarah Gwen, who is the owner of Pizza Press, and she's the director of the Hawaii Restaurant Association. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. We're happy to be here. Thank you.
All right, Gwen, let me start with you. Tell us a little bit more about the Hawaii Restaurant Card, and I understand that you're just rolling this program out now.
Yes, thank you for asking. So this is a $75 million economic stimulus program put on by the state of Hawaii, and it is the primary purpose of this program is to inject $75 million into our very struggling restaurant industry and the entire food supply chain. And when the state was looking at how we might deploy the funds, it could have been done in a number of ways. We could have given direct grants to restaurants and done it that way. However, we wanted to impact and help as many people as possible. So we decided to deploy the funds through our displaced workers. And the way we did that is by mining the database of our unemployment system and downloading the CARES eligible individuals and issuing them cards that way. And this is the way we were able to send out over 116,000 cards last week for this program, which they just started receiving.
Wow, that's great. Before we dig a little bit deeper into that, let me bring in Sarah here. And Sarah, you of course are a restaurateur. You own a restaurant, but you're also the director of the Hawaii Restaurant Association. Could you give us an idea of how badly the pandemic has impacted the restaurant industry in Hawaii?
It's been detrimental, and just as a business owner here, and the first shutdown, it was scary. The second shutdown, it was brutal. And as far as with support with the card, it couldn't have come at a time. And so it's been helpful for us. We needed it. We need to have our employees back at work. And so we thank you so much for to be able to get that. So, yeah.
Yeah, percentage wise, how far down do you say the business went at one point?
So as far as with the initial shutdown for our restaurant and specifically, it was we took a 70% hit in the first week. I know some restaurants did worse, some did better, and it took a little bit to get to maybe 80%. But that's the first shutdown. The second shutdown, it was back again, same thing, but we got back to maybe half, and so it was pretty scary. And as far as with the support, and it couldn't have come at a better time. It was pretty scary times, and thank goodness it takes a village to as far as with the support from our customers that were our loyal customers that were coming in, from our staff that were flexible as far as with, okay, we have to cut the hours, and they're just really resilient. So thankfully we have a little bit of breathing room now. Yeah.
Likewise with the Guam restaurant industry, you might imagine that this similar thing is happening. I think the fast food restaurant, the drive-through operations have been doing well, but it's the sit-down restaurants that have been hurt the most. I mean, the governor has been allowing takeout, but not dine-in. I'm not sure what the case is for Hawaii, but right now it's restricted to takeout. And so as you can imagine, the restaurant industry has been hurting, as it has been, nationwide. I mean, a lot of folks are suffering. And in fact, a lot have, been saying that they may be forced to shut down, if not temporarily, permanently. Is that similar to the case in Hawaii?
Yeah, it's similar, and you can do, similar here. The fast foods and the lines with the big chains, the Taco Bells, McDonald's, you see the lines there. But it's the small restaurants, mom and pops that need the support, and more important than ever, to support local. And as far as with takeout, you know, I am a go-getter and no stone left unturned, but takeout only was tough. It was really tough. And that got us to maybe half, but half isn't cutting it, but still having to pay for our rent and everything. And so us on the restaurant side, you know, I feel like we're doing our part. I, in good conscience, would not open up the restaurant if I didn't feel that it was not safe to. So we take precautions, 6 feet distance, masks are required, high traffic areas, those are clean and sanitized. So we're doing our part and keeping, you know, our customers coming in, keeping them safe, keeping our staff safe. Yeah.
Okay. And Gwen, tell us a little bit about the genesis for this program. How did it all start? Who had the idea? Tell us about why, how the government came up with the idea.
Yeah, actually, and you know, before I get into that, I just wanted to mention and piggyback off of Sarah, the restaurants are just the surface, because underneath the restaurants are the local farmers, the local fishermen, the local ranchers, and the supply chain there that are really also impacted. So, you know, this is killing a dozen birds with one stone. So that's, you know, that's a good way to do it. So actually, this was the brainchild of Kurt Osaki, Osaki Creative, and he is a member of the Chamber of Commerce Hawaii. And he took this idea from a small little town in London called Brixton. And this was in 2008, with the meltdown, the financial meltdown in 2008, this town decided that it wanted to create its own currency to keep the money within its town so that the money keeps flowing over and over again. And so they created its own currency. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that here in Hawaii. However, he took that idea and then pitched it saying, hey, what if we did something like this, where the restaurant card, a prepaid card, could be used to benefit you know, not just one business, but many businesses down the chain, and feed people while they're at it.
Okay. And so as I understand it, and as you mentioned, this is primarily right now for those who are unemployed, correct? What other impact will it have? For example, will it, for those who might be on food stamps or SNAP card rather, is there any impact?
Yeah, actually, if you asked me, I would have loved to issue a card to everyone, but it had to be CARES Act fund eligible. So they had to have been negatively impacted by the pandemic. It couldn't just be because they're on, you know, food stamps, or because they're seniors on fixed income, because I really, you know, would have loved to help them. First responders would love to reward them with this, but we couldn't do it. They had to be CARES fund eligible, and they had to be negatively impacted by COVID. And that's why we chose the displaced workers who lost their jobs due to COVID.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc. GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's, offers fully covered loading and unloading area with individual pin-coded gate and door access. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information.
I'm Hope Benavente de los Reyes, and I'm voting for Joe.
I'm Ray Leonger. I'm voting for Joe.
My name is Michael Gofigan-Tapasnia, and I am voting for Joe.
I am Kathy Leon Guerrero, and I'm voting for Joe.
I am Rose Tapasnia Mesa, and I am voting for Joe.
I am Joanne Kennedy, and I'm voting for Joe.
I am Ernie Caceres. I am voting for Joe.
I'm Benjamin D. Mesa Jr. I'll be voting for Joe.
I am Ann Leon Guerrero. I am voting for Joe.
I'm Pete Johnson, and I'm voting for Joe. Whoa.
I'm Senator Joe Sims of St. Augustine, and I approve this message.
Guam's auto appearance specialist, Elegant Reflections, has been providing the automotive industry with professional detailing and car care products at its highest quality, from complete detailing, full interior detailing, exterior detailing, headlamp restoration, hand washing, seat and carpet shampoo, engine degreasing, undercarriage cleaning, paint sealant, fabric protection, paint oxidation removal, and so much more. Visit us at our new location. Call 646-5555 for an appointment. Elegant Reflections, Guam's auto appearance specialist, over 20 years of experience.
Grab Taco Bell's Nachos Party Pack whenever you're dressing up to stay in, getting some brownie points, or witnessing a miracle. Sorry, Jess. Go big with delicious nachos topped with all your favorites. Nachos Party Pack, only at Taco Bell.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Okay, so the cards will be loaded with $500 that they can use at local restaurants.
Yes, local restaurants, fast food, caterers, and bakeries.
Okay, and so how did you manage to, I guess you used a database from the PUA program to reach all these folks, and they didn't necessarily have to apply? Were they automatically qualified?
Yes, so there are, so this first tranche is for the regular unemployment compensation insurance claimants. So that's about 116,000 and change of them. We are getting, working on getting the PUA claimant database. That's 30 some odd thousand of them. So it's going to be almost 150,000 altogether who receive a card. We needed to work with a database because if we had to have 150,000 people apply for this program, we would still be in the application process. So, you know, and then it's going to be chaos, right? And we didn't want our displaced workers to go through yet another, you know, application process because, you know, they were already struggling already trying to get through our UI system just because of the volume. You know, so just to give you some idea of how quickly we put this program together, our first meeting was September 8th. September 8th was the first meeting. We pulled the data on October 1st and sent it up to Money Network, the card issuer. The reason we chose Money Network and MetaBank was because they are the ones who did the stimulus payments for unbanked individuals who were getting stimulus checks. If you recall, there was the stimulus checks right in March. There are about 3 million people who did not have any bank account. And so they couldn't get a direct deposit, nor could they get a check. So the way the government got them the money was through prepaid cards using Money Network and MetaBank. And so because we knew they were more than able and capable of doing CARES funding programs quickly and in scale, we're working with them. We uploaded the data October 2nd. The cards were in production and mailed October 12th, which happened to be a federal holiday, but they dropped it in the mail on the 12th, and they started, people started getting it on the 15th.
Wow, talk about a rapid response. Great job. Sarah, can I ask you, what have you let your members' restaurants know about how what they need to do to accept the cards?
Pretty simple. So as Gwen had mentioned, it's fast food, restaurant establishments, fast foods, bakeries. So there's a certain code. Not, you know, it doesn't work at a grocery store. So there's certain codes that you qualify. So those are the restaurants, fast foods, bakeries. Just as if you were accepting a credit card purchase. So just scan it, has their name on there. There's a couple of things though. So it's for food purchases. It does not count towards alcohol. It does not count towards gift cards. And so on our side, it's an honor system. We need to make sure as restaurant owners and as we're receiving these cards that, you know, and the customer should know too. It's a purchase for those things, just have it separate. Other than that, pretty simple. Just make sure that you inform your staff about it and then get the word out. And so I've been promoting it on Instagram, social media. On our side, we have promotions. Spend $30 and get a free garlic cheesy bread or a deep dish cookie. There's FET that has, you get 20% off if you use a card. I think it was $6.05 free nachos when you use a card. So just getting the word out about it, but very simple, very easy.
Yeah, and so your membership, I think, as you noted, is kind of reacting to and saying, hey, okay, how do I market to these folks, and what can I offer them to make them come over to my place? Yeah.
Yes, and then there's a lot of questions around there. There's Hawaii, it's a Hawaii, I think, card. There's a FAQ. Any kind of questions, you can refer to that website. How do you qualify? What can you purchase? So a wealth of information on the Hawaii restaurant card FAQ.
Yeah, it's kind of a treat too. I mean, because you guys can do dine-in, you can actually have some time, some extra money for your family to be able to take them out for a family dinner. Yeah.
Yes, I think that it was great. Just and having you know, the families come in and enjoy a meal together on the weekends, weekdays. So it's nice to see, you know, getting back to some sort of normalcy, and to see our customers and to see the smiling faces, to see the kids. You know, they've been cooped up and just to be able to see them. It's been great.
All right. And Gwen, is there any thought at this point? I know that the state government has been using CARES Act to fund this, but is there been any thought to maybe expanding it to say those families who may be still employed but on the lower end of the income totem pole, so that they can avail of some additional money for food for the families? Like we were talking with Sarah, that just to take the kids out to eat and have a family dinner at a restaurant.
Yeah, so it would be dependent on the source of funds. And so, the CARES funds in Hawaii, I think Governor pretty much has it's fully subscribed. However, if Congress does come out with a second tranche of that, and depending on what the requirements are, we can take a look at that. If they are more flexible with the requirements, then certainly we can take a look at being more flexible with our requirements.
Yeah. What are some of the questions that you've gotten from the applicants, or the participants rather?
From the displaced workers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that they're asking us right now is, am I eligible? Am I going to get a card? And so what we did was we worked with our contractor, and they set up an Am I Eligible portal, which people can go in and put in a couple of pieces of information and see if they're going to get a card. And we did that because we knew there's a lot of volume, and we knew people were curious. As of this morning, there was something like 130,000 inquiries to that portal already. So, I think that made it so helpful for alleviating them from having to call us directly through a call center on that. Other questions are primarily from restaurants, and Sarah did a great job in covering it. We want to make sure that alcohol is not included. We also, I'm so amazed at the creative promotions that the restaurants are doing. One of the things, though, we're telling the restaurants our cash back is not allowed. We want to keep the funds in the restaurant industry to get the impacts that we're hoping for. With the economic impacts of investing in a restaurant industry is more than 2 to 1. So it's huge for the state, for the employees. Yeah.
Sure. And Sarah, can you talk a little bit about the importance of that money being spent locally, because that circulates, right? There's 2-3 times, that multiplier effect. Yeah.
Exactly. And then that dollar that is spent at the restaurant is going back to employ the employees. And then for us, we have to, our suppliers, the farmers, we source our produce locally. And so just giving it back, and I think it's ×2 or 1 point, if you round up, it would be that going back to the economy, and that's exactly what we need. And so when that came out, I was like, oh my gosh, like that, it's brilliant actually. So couldn't come at a better time. So thank you.
Yeah, that's great. Gwen, I just wanted to find out from you if you have any advice. As I mentioned earlier, I think the governor, the administration here is considering a similar program, if not the same. Why recreate the wheel, right, if it's working for you guys? So what would your advice be? What are some of the main points you would give to them if we roll out a similar card program?
Yes, I think it needs to be a public-private partnership, and we've gotten great partners with the Hawaii Restaurant Association, with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Hawaii Agricultural Foundation, and also with our contractors, Money Network and MetaBank. So it cannot be, it takes a village, right? So we were able to stand it up so quickly because of our partners, and it's thanks to them and our policymakers who supported it, as well as our governor.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
MTO Maintenance will now completely sanitize your home, office, or business with state-of-the-art commercial sprayers. For over 30 years, MTO Maintenance has been committed to the health and safety of our customers. And now, more than ever, a clean home, office, carpets, and furniture is a necessity to our island. Give us a call today. Stay healthy and stay safe, Guam.
Call 647-6861 for an appointment.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
did you have a specific task force or coordinating? I know that you are the program coordinator, but did you draw on, as you said, a private membership task force as well?
Yes, so we had at the beginning, we were having meetings like twice a week. Now we're it's less than that because it's been launched. We have a meeting on Friday, but we have quite a large meeting of public workers as well as private industry and all of our partners. And restaurants were also part of that because we wanted to make sure that we got their feedback to make sure that we were doing what was right for them.
Right, and you had no incidents of fraud because it's sort of like an automatic qualification, right? Because I know for our unemployment program, we've never had one. We actually, the Department of Labor here actually started up Guam's very first unemployment program because of the need for through the PUA. But this is a no need to apply kind of program that you guys start up. So the recommendation would be also to use whatever they've done already with PUA so that they don't have to redo that whole process, because it is, and I recall it did take quite some time for everyone to fill in an application and then be vetted and all that stuff, correct?
Right, and that was part of why we were able to do it so quickly, because our Department of Labor already vetted these people and they are eligible based on our criteria. I do know that there were people who had claims and they weren't settled in September. September is when we pulled the data, but they might have been settled in October. Unfortunately, we were not able to issue them a card. They have to have been settled and paid and deemed eligible in September in order to get a card.
Yeah. And Sarah, do you have any recommendations or insights for our struggling restaurant industry in terms of the experiences that you've gone through in Hawaii?
I would say as a restaurant owner, it is tough. We're not going to sugarcoat it. It is tough. But, for me, I'm always looking at the glass is half full. I'm looking through Instagram, social media, anything. Each week I'm looking, what can we do? And as long as I'm doing my best, we're doing promos. We're, shaking, all our customers that are coming in. I'm thanking everyone. Thank you so much. I know you have places that you can go, but for you to choose to come to us, for our staff and our employees, building their morale and getting them excited. And so I would say, don't give up. It is challenging times, and rely on your other, as far as with restaurant owners, and this too shall pass. It's challenging. It will pass.
Yeah, it has to. It absolutely has to.
It has to.
I know that Hawaii had Governor Ige had just recently announced the reopening of the tourism industry. How has that gone so far for the restaurant and the hotels?
Good. I make sure that I keep myself physically fit and healthy during this time. So I normally do a run around Diamond Head and Waikiki, and it was nice. We saw the tourists coming back, and so as far as with the tourists, there's hotels, and those hotels employ the people here. It's all a good thing. Everybody just needs to do their part, wear a mask, social distance, those things. And so it's been good. It's been, this past week for us, for the business, it was very encouraging. We had a good week.
That's good to know. And are you optimistic that if the tourism industry, and obviously it's not going to come back, like you're not going to get your record numbers that you had right before the pandemic, but there'll probably be a gradual buildup. But are you optimistic then that if that gradual buildup happens, that the restaurant industry and the hotel industry will sort of follow?
I think so. It is, as far as with what I've seen with this past few days of it opening and seeing the hotels and the restaurants around the Waikiki area, and that's like the Times Square of New York. And so it wasn't hustling, bustling like before, but it is nice to see, the folks there. And so I am optimistic, yeah.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
100% truck, 100% Jeep brand. The all-new Jeep Gladiator is the most capable off-road mid-size pickup truck crafted for adventure. Equipped with best-in-class towing capacity, legendary Jeep brand 4x4 capability, and backed by Guam's only lifetime powertrain warranty. Drive home in a brand new Jeep Gladiator today, starting as low as $283 per paycheck during Jeep Adventure Days. Call us at 477-7807 or visit our website at carsplusguam.com to get pre-approved today.
GU Self-Storage, conveniently located near the Harmon McDonald's. We offer affordable rates, online payments, and auto bill pay for your convenience. Plus gate access daily from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Call us today at 648-7867 for more information. In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.
Yeah. And how about you, Gwen? What's your thoughts? How's it been for the government side in terms of the reopening of the tourism industry to see visitors start trickling back in?
Yeah, 7,000, 8,000 visitors a day, which is a short, much short of what the normal is, but it's a start, and I think so far so good. I know that there were some concern from travelers. It's really good to see travel bloggers who actually say it was more stressful getting ready to come, then once they landed, it was nice and smooth as long as they did what they were supposed to do. So it's encouraging, and we hope that it continues to work out well.
Yeah, I did an interview last week with the head of the Hawaii Tourism Authority, and one of the questions I asked him, and he was very frank about it, was, we have this sort of spectrum in which, people are fearful still, and they don't necessarily want to see the visitors come back just yet. And then there's the business side that, they're fearful for their continued livelihood. And so how do you balance that? And how in your personal opinion, has it been for you in terms of making that balance between reopening and closing it up tight?
For me, it's been, again, it's hard because everyone has their own personal circumstance. For example, I have not seen my mother-in-law, or I've seen her through a window since April. So we have not visited. We drop off groceries for her, pick up food for her. But she's been holed up by herself just because she's a high risk. And so it's been hard on her. And then there's others who, my son, he's 19, and they think they're invincible, and they're anxious to go out. He's actually in Arizona, and we just sent him back to college there. So, it takes a balance, and we just, as Sarah said, everyone just needs to do their part, wear their mask, social distance, do what they need to do. So we'll get through this.
Yeah. And Sarah, let me end with you. Just to tell me from your perspective as a business owner, how do you see the balance being struck?
I think that, with what Gwen had mentioned, like everybody does their part, the social distancing, and wearing a mask. But we want to get back to some sort of normalcy. Like I miss going out to eat. And so for us to be able to dine at our favorite restaurant, it was nice to enjoy a meal. And so, if everybody does their part with the tourists here, I don't have a problem with it. I welcome it. But for us to be responsible about it, that's why there's requirements as far as with the capacity that's allowed within a restaurant. So I think it's a good thing. And as far as with pre-existing diseases and the customers and people like that, then they'll stay at home and to make sure that they're protected. So I think it's a good thing. Everybody needs to do their part.
All right, thank you very much. Sarah Gwen, she is the owner of Pizza Press and the director of the Hawaii Restaurant Association. And Gwen Yamamoto Lau is the program administrator of the Hawaii Restaurant Card, which just launched. $500 from the Federal CARES Act fund, and must be spent in local restaurants and eateries. And so good luck on the program. Sounds great. And possibly Guam will implement something similar to that. Thanks and aloha, ladies.
Thank you.
Appreciate you joining us.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
And that's In Full Zoom for this week. I'm Nestor Lecanto. We'll see you again next week. Stay safe, everyone.
In Full Zoom is presented to you by Calvo Enterprises, Inc.